Welcome back to another episode of Ride Like a Local. This week, Bob Ross, the founder of the Run to the Hills Memorial Rally, is going to talk to us about the memorial and its purpose. So stay tuned. I'm being joined right now by Mark Koosman, who has been one of the founders of the Run to the Hills Rally. He's been working with Bob Ross since day one, 8 years ago, when they conceived the rally. Mark, tell me a little bit about the history of the rally and how you and Bob came up with the idea.
We were sitting around one evening and we'd gone to a meeting earlier in the day in town here, and they were talking about ideas for bringing tourists to town. And then we started talking about the Memorial Highway, and from there it transitioned into a memorial for motorcyclists.
Now, you were out in the middle of the rodeo grounds along with myself and a few others taking photos this past weekend. Let's talk a little bit about the rodeo games, because they really are one of the centerpieces. Besides the poker run that takes you throughout the county, the rodeo games really are a centerpiece of the rally, and lots of good times and lots of laughs.
Well, this year we started off with the slow race for the mini bikes. And we had a head-to-head competition between a 10-year-old and a 30-something professional stunt rider. Well, in one of the heats, the 10-year-old took the trophy in the slow race. The big guy just couldn't keep his feet on the pegs.
That was pretty cute. That was little Scott McKenzie.
Yes, it was. And the crowd just ate it up. The participation this year in the rodeo was just outstanding. It's the best year so far.
Mm-hmm. So from the slow races, which for the mini bikes, which was a lot of fun to watch, what was the next event?
Oh, we had the barrel push, the beer barrel push, and that one seemed to be one guy would break away and get it going good, and the rest of them would just cross each other over, and that was it. The one out of the gate usually won.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love the keg push. I think it's a real skills test to see how straight you can keep your motorcycle in that barrel. You have to be pretty on the ball to do that.
Yeah. Well, the guys, some of them, they found that pushing it sideways worked better for them. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple of guys there that once they got the barrel rolling in a straight line, they were just gone.
After that, after the keg push, then we had some other interesting events. Let's talk about those.
Well, my favorite was the Honey, I'm Home, where they jump out of the bed, put on a pair of shorts, jump over a wall, and head off with their motorcycle. Last year, we had one lady that volunteered for sitting in the bed. This year, all the participants brought their own ladies along, and they were hamming it up.
Ham it up they did. Some of those ladies were having an absolute ball out there, and it was so funny watching those guys try to get into those undersized pair of underwear.
Yeah, well, we had one guy even pull it over his head when he gave up.
Yes, we did. From there, they moved on to the pantyhose race.
That one I can't talk too much about, because by the time I hobbled over there, it was damn near over.
Well, it was quite comical watching both the guys and the gals trying to put those pantyhose on, get up to the fence, and then race back to their seat in order to win the heat. It was, it did definitely provided some good chuckles. And then, of course, one of the all-time favorites at most motorcycle rallies, the burnout pit.
Yes, this year we had quite a few contestants. Usually there's one or two that'll come up and burn the tire off their bike, but I think we had a half a dozen or more. Mm-hmm. And after it was all over, every once in a while you'd hear someone hit the burnout pit and rev her up for a bit.
What is your favorite aspect of the rally?
My favorite aspect is just watching all the bikes and all the people and everyone having a good time.
It is a lot of fun. The memorial, what does that mean for you as one of the founders of the event, to see this memorial actually starting to come closer and closer to completion all the time?
Well, my father was an avid motorcyclist. After he retired, he went all over Western Canada and the United States. And I had two close friends that were also motorcyclists. And they've all passed away. And there is no grave marker for them. They had their ashes spread. So once this is all completed, it'll be someplace where I can go and reflect and sit and talk to my dad.
That seems to be an underlying theme for a lot of riders is their friends because they're riders, tend to want to be in the wind with their ashes.
Yeah, my dad, his ashes are spread from Germany to Puerto Vallarta and to Mom's backyard. There's a little bit of him all over the place.
What is your goal for next year's rally? What kind of attendance would you guys like to see out here?
I'd like to break 500 and be prepared for it.
It's a big job preparing for a rally of this size, isn't it?
Yeah, Bob usually shoulders most of it, and I'm there as the gopher. Anything that he needs done, he just has to ask, and I'm on it.
It's got to be a little bit challenging in a town of this size with, the fact that there's a finite amount of volunteers that you can draw from. So how do you guys manage? I mean, I helped Bob clean up for a couple of days, and he was out there virtually alone. How do you guys manage for volunteers?
Well, when the motorcyclists come in, a lot of them volunteer. So we get our volunteers from wherever the riders come from. Everybody seems to pitch in a little bit and help us out a bit. And then we've got the fire department, and they usually run security for us. And I don't know, we've just been muddling through it and making it work.
And making it work you do. I'm very, very pleased to be a sponsor of this event and thrilled to have been able to come down this weekend and participate. It's very rewarding to see so many people coming out and supporting this monument now that they really understand what the goal of the rally is, that this isn't just a party, this isn't a business that's, a campground that's trying to build its reputation. This is actually a rally that gives back to a motorcycle community that's always doing for others.
Well, it's finally starting to come together. The first 4 years, well, we were at the losing end of it. By the time all the bills were paid, we were usually a couple of $2-3 grand in the hole. And these last 2 years, we're breaking even, and this year, I think we're ahead.
You guys have already started a lot of work out at the monument site at the Wayside Park. New roofs on the old cook shack, which will become the chapel, and new roofs on both of the restrooms, and you're getting ready to make the one restroom wheelchair accessible. How many volunteers and how much more work do you think it's going to take to see the memorial become a reality?
Oh, we're going to need a lot of volunteers out there. If the more volunteers, the quicker it'll get put together. We've been accumulating materials over the past 5-6 years now, and so a lot of the materials have been taken care of, but we can always use more. And well, if it's just Bob and me putting it together, it'll take another 10-12 years, but if there's volunteers showing up and we can get a couple work bees happening, I'm hoping by next year this time there'll be something to look at.
Well, thank you for taking a little bit of time with me, Mark, and thank you and Bob very much for deciding that the community deserved and needed a Fallen Riders Memorial. I think it's a wonderful cause.
Well, I thank you. I hope so.
Canada's most rider-friendly community. Where is it? Is it Carman? Marystown? Viking? Where in this vast land is Canada's most rider-friendly community? Help us discover that special community at riderfriendlycontest.ca. Growing communities one idea at a time is Community Futures Grand Prairie and Region, providing business planning, cash flows, market research, and business loans. Visit www.cfofgp.com to see how we can help you. I'm being joined right now by Wes Stefanik, who happens to be the minister who looks after the prayer services for the Run to the Hills Memorial Rally here in Two Hills. Wes, how did you become the minister of this event?
Well, Bob Ross, who was the organizer of the event, got my name a number of years back when it first opened or first started the run. Um, we have a reputation of being we're first of all a street church that kind of ministers to the people who don't fit into a normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill religious organization, if
Right.
that explains it enough. Anyway, so he got our name through that word of mouth type of stuff, and he called me up and asked me if I wanted to do a service, and so that's kind of how it all started. That was what 8 years ago or something like that, and we've been doing that ever since. So.
Now, you ride your own motorcycle. After a discussion, I learned that you had a 20-year hiatus roughly and then came back to riding. What is it about riding a motorcycle and being a minister that you think is a unifying thread for you to be a motorcycle riding minister?
The thread between it opens a lot of doors. It makes like when we're ministering, not only at the biker rally, but in the prisons and stuff like that. It is a tool that is very universally understood as freedom, right? And with that, you're able to really talk to people in that level, not have they don't come with this agenda, right? You don't walk in with an agenda as per se as a normal man of the cloth or minister, right? Church grown type thing. It's more there's the freedom piece. I guess that's probably the best way to explain it. That there's when you ride up on a bike or you're walking to do a prison ministry, and they come across that you stand for something that signifies freedom, right? And you have to be that, though. It's not something you learn, right? You just are.
Yeah.
It's actually hard to explain that too. It's not something, you know what I mean? Like you
Yes.
just the best way I heard it a while back, and I wish I could quote who said this to me or where I read it from, was that there is as a biker, when you're riding, you are riding in the environment, and then when you're in a vehicle, you're riding through the environment. And I think that's really significant as a minister in this is that we're in the environment. We're not just passing through with an agenda. We're here. This is who we are, right?
Yeah.
And we're part of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have the same joy, the same hurts, the same pains, the same storms, and we talked a little bit about that. It's like it's an adventure, right? So when you said, the threat, I thought, well, this could be good, because to the outside world, a lot of it is, right?
It is.
It is a threat. It's like, and I don't know if it's a threat of being afraid as much as it is being. I wish we had that, right? You know what I mean? Like this,
Mm-hmm.
like I wish I could be like that, or and it's like,
I think in a lot of ways people feel threatened by riders because of envy.
yeah, that's the word, yeah.
I think they look at us, and that motorcycle does embody freedom, but as we know as riders, that freedom comes with huge responsibility. It's up to us to pay attention on the road. It's up to us to look out after ourselves and to ride like everyone around us is blind and cannot see us. And so, you know, a lot of people look at us with envy, yet they don't understand the weight of responsibility we ourselves truly understand we carry.
Oh, absolutely. I know just from riding, and especially when you get into the larger cities and stuff like that. Like my wife, she rides with me, and there's gotten to a point where she doesn't even want to come into the city with me, because it's every time we've been into the city riding in, it's like there's somebody just wanting to take you out, right? And you pull up beside of them, and you want to be Christian, right? But there's times you just want to sort of cut them off and pull them over and just give them a real good
Lecture. We'll leave it at that.
yeah, lecture. And then they're oblivious to it. It's like, okay, well, this, you're not the only person on planet Earth here, right? And that's kind of, I think, the message there is that as a rider, you're riding. You're not only riding, but you're driving for 10 people in front of you, 10 people behind you, and 10 on each side of you, right? You have to have that vision, right? That's seeing something way ahead of you that's, you know, a potential accident, right? So, it's, but yeah, but anyway.
The interesting thing for me yesterday was the wide variety of services that any minister offers. Yesterday morning, you started us all off with a prayer and a blessing for the bikes and giving the roll call of the riders that were lost this year, 17 names on the list that people had put forth to have their loved ones remembered. And then you officiate over a wedding where there's so much joy and happiness. How do you emotionally shift gears to do that kind of diversity of a job in a day?
Oh, it's not easy. Like, you know, with the memorial piece, it really sets home because, you know, we've had, you know, family members lost, not necessarily in biking incidents or anything like that, but everyone's lost people. So there's a real emotion there of understanding that loss and the people out there who have lost people too. So you know, I just go there. I go there and understand that in my heart and in my mind. I connect it to, and like I say, and then to shift gears into a wedding where it's joyful. I remember, you know, I go back to the union, and so when you start to, you know, meditate and reflect on that, and you take it to scripture, and you sort of understand that we're not, you put yourself in it, right? It's not easy, but, you know, God gives us the strength to do that if we ask Him for that, and then we proceed to move in that, right? So, I mean, after yesterday, I was beat, you know. I wanted to go to the beer gardens afterward and have a little bit of fun, you know, just see what's happening. But by 10 o'clock, I was done, eh?
Yeah.
You know, so it was good, and I was done. I mean, maybe I was 30 years old, it'd be a lot different, but I'm not. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say thank you very much for taking a little bit of time with me, Pastor Wes.
Yes.
It's been a very enlightening afternoon.
Absolutely, and likewise with you too. 'Cause I enjoyed our time together, even having a hamburger there and a coffee.
Yeah.
and this too. This is great. So it's nice to meet you. And
Growing communities one idea at a time is Community Futures Grand Prairie and Region, providing business planning, cash flows, market research, and business loans. Visit www.cfofgp.com to see how we can help you.
The Sports Camera Store in West Edmonton Mall is your one-stop shop for drift and GoPro action cameras. We carry Canada's largest selection of action cam accessories, along with video sunglasses, hidden and surveillance cameras, and more. Visit www.sportscamerastore.com or stop into our West Edmonton Mall location, lower level by the bay. Bob Ross and I are out at the site of the Wayside Memorial Park, which is going to be the home of the Fallen Riders Memorial that has been the brainchild of this man here, Bob Ross. Bob, tell me, what was the inspiration? What made you decide that riders needed a memorial where they could come to remember their buddies?
Well, it's just everyone who rides a bike is touched by this sooner or later. It's, you know, it's one of the inescapable facts of life that, you know, death touches everyone sooner or later. And as a motorcyclist, I just didn't see anywhere that riders could go and reflect on, you know, their loss and their, you know, just some quiet reflection in a place to, you know, a focal point.
Right.
You know, there's nothing like that available for people to go to, you know.
Was there any one situation or any one aha moment that brought you to that conclusion?
No, it wasn't a specific loss or anything, you know.
A 99-year lease on this piece of property. It's all treed all around on two sides and has a beautiful view of the little village, or little town, I should say, of Two Hills. The golf course just behind us. Give our audience a little bit of a sense of what your vision for this is.
Well, using the existing structures here, you know, we're not starting from scratch. There were existing structures here. There's restrooms here. Everything was in pretty sad shape. It had been neglected for a long time when we got it, but we've put metal roofs on now. We're beginning painting. We're fixing everything up slowly but surely. We're getting everything started. It's been a long, hard road to get to this point, but now that we're moving on with it, it's gonna start happening pretty quick. You know, the vision is the main structure here is going to serve as a chapel or a meeting room. You know, it'll be multifunction, but it will be a place where people need to have a facility for a service or whatever. That will be available for them. There'll be, you know, extra chairs, tables, whatnot that they can set up on the grounds, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. The monument itself will be here. It'll, you know, just for quiet reflection. People will be able to ride in, pay their respects, you know, have a barbecue, hang out, just enjoy the day.
Mm-hmm. So basically what I'm understanding then is you're envisioning, say, a group of a half a dozen riders from some riding club that have lost a friend, maybe riding out here for an afternoon, holding a little memorial service, breaking some bread together, perhaps camping in the back eventually at some point, and then being able to wander through the gardens around the memorial and see the names of all of the fallen riders that families have asked to be inscribed here.
Absolutely, that's the whole idea. You know, like I said, we have the chairs and tables and whatnot. If you needed to have a service or whatnot, they'd be here. Probably accommodate up to 100 people.
Well, there's, what did you say, pretty close to 1.5 acres of land here?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's it going to take to finish this? What's it going to take, not monetarily, okay? It's probably going to take a lot of money. But manpower-wise, what's it going to take to be able to get this thing to a point where people can start coming here?
It's that's been our shortcoming since the very beginning, even with the rally, getting things started and whatnot. This is a small community, and our human resources are sometimes stretched to their limits.
Right.
So, you know, just some trades and whatnot to come out and give a hand and help get this thing rolling.
Let's talk about the impact of the economics of the tourism here.
Oh, there's most definitely an impact. It's noticeable. The motorcycle traffic in town over the last 8 years has increased. I couldn't even hazard a guess. I'd say tenfold. You know, it used to be if you heard a bike, your head snapped around because, you know, oh goody, there's somebody on a bike coming to town, and now it's, you know, commonplace.
Right.
I know that you know, there's more bikers on the road every year, but at the same time, you know, they weren't coming here, and now they are. So it's definitely had an impact.
I really have that feeling. Your drive and your passion for this thing. I mean, you've persevered where many others would have given up a long time ago. And I think that passion is really evident in your rally. I mean, I look at your Facebook page, the comments from people who have attended the event, how thrilled they are with everything that you've done. And people are starting to truly understand this is almost, not quite, but almost a one-man show.
Well, it's definitely days it feels like it, but yeah, no, I have a good team behind me for sure. It's sometimes it's stressed, everything's stretched to the absolute limit, but we manage.
Let's talk about your team. Who all helps you?
I've got my key people here in town, and Mark Kusman and his wife Val, and my buddy Robin, who's out of town quite a bit, but you know, his job takes him out of town quite a bit. So again, it's hard for And some of the other older riders in town, some of them are in their 70s. So it, you know,
But they all want to see this done.
they all want to see this done. This is what we're all about.
If there was one thing you would like our audience to understand about what it's going to take to get this memorial done, what would it be?
We're definitely going to need the help of people in the riding community to get this done. And we're going to be putting the word out any way we can that we need trades, we need people to come here, equipment operators, masoners, landscapers, fencers, all of it. We need the help. There's no question about it. And I'm pretty confident we're going to get it too. So this is happening. It's been a long road, but it's happening now. So
It has been a long road for the Two Hills Rally and for the memorial here in Two Hills. But as I sit here and look at it, I mean, the buildings are there. Those are very real.
well, our vision for the memorial right now is the site is it's rectangular. It's on a east-west plane. The main pavilion is pretty much in the center of the site. So we'd like the monument to be on the westernmost side of the acreage. So with the trees behind it, sun setting on it, beautiful. I envision it as in the summer when the sun sets. I can envision that. It's all going to be in the. We had a considerable amount of masonry donated to us by the United Farmers. And it's going to be built with that, and then with the metal sculpture of the rider and bike and cross on the top, the traditional silhouette that all bikers are familiar with.
Well, folks, if you watch this, there are ways that you can donate, whether it be your time or your money. Time and your skill would be, I would say, donation of choice at this moment. But you can go to runtothehillsrally.com and you can take a check out about the rally, what it's all about, what the memorial's all about. And you can also donate through that website. The donation buttons will be up very shortly. So I encourage you, it doesn't matter whether you live in Newfoundland, the Yukon, British Columbia, Ontario, Quebec, anywhere in this great land, this is our place. And I do believe I'm not out of line, Bob, by saying you want people to own this.
Absolutely. We have riders from the UK that have attended our rally on more than one occasion. They've come out and returned because they believe in this.
Right.
I want this to be something that everybody across Canada can say, this is our site. This is our spot. This is where we go to reflect on our losses.
At the rally, just before everybody headed out on the poker run, Pastor Wes gave a beautiful little service and then a roll call of 17 names. What did that represent to you?
That I have trouble with questions like that. That roll call gets a little longer every year, and it's I would like to see a year when there's no names on it. But
folks, if any of you have lost someone you love on a motorcycle, this is our home. This is going to be our place to come and reflect, because so many riders prefer to have their ashes scattered to the wind in their favorite riding spot or at their favorite river. Big Guy Parody. There's no marker anywhere in the world that says he was here and that he touched lives. Right? That's what this is about, folks. This is about us being able to have a place to come and remember those who are special to us outside of our own homes, to be able to actually come here and say, yeah, you made a difference in my life. So this memorial, both Bob and I are sitting here, tears in our eyes, because this memorial is so much bigger than him or his community or his rally. It's as big as a country. It's a nation of riders who need to come together and have that place to come together. So all of you riding clubs, I'm going to challenge you right here, right now, to help us build this memorial. If you have people in your riding club who are electricians, masons, landscapers, anybody who is capable of doing welding and fencing and painting and drywall work and building, you know, different aspects of this memorial, I want to see you be emailing Mr. Ross, and he's going to give us his email address right now.
Run to the Hills Rally at yahoo.ca.
It's a challenge, folks. Let's get it on. Let's make this memorial happen. And let's have our little place to come and reflect and to feel at peace with those we've lost. Until next time, this is Belt Drive Betty, and please ride safe.